Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. Hit that like button and subscribe before we begin. And today's topic is The Power is Within. We are in location number 860 and we're starting at wait a minute, Mark. We were talking about your ability to believe. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. It may be whatever he can believe and conceive. I'm not sure. That's a Napoleon Hill quote. You can look it up. Napoleon Hill wrote, what did he write? Geez, I can't think of it, and I've read it many times. Somebody help me here. What did he write? I can't believe I can't think of that book. I've read it several times. It's one of the classics. It'll come to me here shortly. If you ever can't think of anything, just say, it'll come to me in a couple minutes, and then just forget about it and it'll pop into your head. Okay, we're starting here. Wait a minute, Mark. You said I would have to take action, and now you're saying I don't. What are you talking about? Well, I was talking about you have to set the intention, but if you go out there and try to make it happen, what's going to happen is you're going to wear yourself out and you may cause a lot of problems, turmoil within yourself and possibly with other people. Okay. You do have to take action, but intuitive action is what you need to take. Inspired action, not thinking, how am I going to do this? Well, if I do this, this, and this. Now, that's not to say you don't plan, because you do. But there's a difference between a plan and a forced will and trying to make something happen. Okay, there's a nuance here. The responsibility for making your ideal life happen is not yours. Your responsibility is only to do the internal footwork necessary to allow it to happen. Think and Grow Rich. That's it, Napoleon Hill. I think that's right. I told you. See how that works? When you try to make, something happen, you are using your self-will. When you allow it to happen, you are creating it within yourself and letting the way be revealed to you, following the intuitive guidance system which we all have. It takes a lot of willpower to see the reality of your future life within yourself several times each day and then wait for guidance. Most people just can't sit still. They have to do something to make it happen. But to those people I say, you are doing something, you are trusting. Did you make the universe? Did you make the stars in the heavens? Did you make the sun come up this morning? Did you make yourself breathe throughout the night so you could open your eyes and see this wonderful world you live in? What makes you think you have to make this specific dream of yours become a reality? If it's going to be, it's up to me. That's the old adage. And there's truth in that. Just like all falsities are all lies, and I'm not saying that's a lie. I've got things accomplished by that. And it is true. If it's going to be, it is up to me. But when I try to make something happen by the force of my will alone, I may accomplish it, but it's a heck of a lot of work. There's an easier way. And I may step on a lot of people's toes while I'm trying to make something happen. We have all heard about the law of attraction, made popular by the film and subsequent book, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. What's interesting to me is the title. These principles have been around as long as man has been on earth, and yet somehow this law has remained obscure throughout history. The great teachers and mystics have taught it for thousands of years, and yet every generation seems to forget it. Even after the success of the movie, people broadly still live trying to control the outside world with hopes that it will make them happier. They believe that circumstances control how they feel. How can this be? Because for thousands of years, this has been the belief programmed into most people. I do it with my kids. I put limits on them because I want them to be safe and not get hurt. I don't let them run out into the street and play, and if they do, they get punished. Kids are limitless when they arrive here in the world, and we immediately begin imposing our own limitations on them. They believe they can do anything, which is why one of the great masters said, "Unless you become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven." The kingdom of heaven is within you. It is always limitless and unrestricted, ever expanding, if we allow it to be. One of the definitions for heaven is expansion. Uranos was the word. Expansion, the kingdom of expansion. If we are not expanding, we are contracting. And everything in the universe is expanding. And if we're not expanding along with it, guess what? We get miserable. We exist. And we wonder why we're even here. You can have heaven or hell right here on earth. There is no need to die to experience either. Ask the person who has lived his life for only himself and ends up alone. I've been there. Many kill themselves to escape such prisons. But there is another escape, and it is no secret. Most just don't search for it. Even fewer accept it. When they find it, it calls for a leveling of pride and ego that not many want to do until they see no other way. They hit rock bottom and are compelled to action. Not only compelled, but propelled. This is why we read of people in survivor stories. People at their literal rock bottom situation using seemingly superhuman strength to save themselves or a loved one. But these abilities are not superhuman. We all have them and can access them at any time. You just have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I would not have chosen the path I'm on now had you told me all I would have to go through to be where I am today. No, I wouldn't have. I would have run the other direction. I had to be dragged here kicking and screaming. I spent most of my life searching for satisfaction from everything the world has to offer, only ending up unfulfilled time and time again. Each time I would turn back to the path because I felt I had no choice. The truth is, excuse me, the truth is you always have a choice. I could have kept doing what I was doing, but what would that have gotten me but endless disappointment and suffering? At a certain point, I had suffered enough. It was like I had crossed through an invisible threshold, after which any time I would try to return to the old ways, they produced no pleasure, just suffering magnified. Yes, that's true. Being forced back on the path time and time again until it stuck is the only reason I'm writing this today. I had the thought to do it and intuitively knew it was what I was supposed to be doing. I never thought I would be the author of books, and yet the universe always knew. That's why it made sure I took 2 years of typing before I dropped out of school at 15. That infinite power knew my future, and as it knows my past and present with equal clarity, because both past and future are a fiction. There is only now. Yes, I didn't like school much. I dropped out when I was a sophomore, but I liked working with my hands, and I love to work today. I like to get out there and work. I was putting shingles on my house last night at between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, more or less. Yeah, then I had to go to a meeting. But I like that. I woke up this morning, my hand is like stiff and sore. But a lot of people would say, well, that's because you're getting old, Mark. No, I remember when I was 16, I was digging ditches for this plumber I worked for. I'd wake up in the morning, I could barely open my hands from using the shovel. Now, some people may say, why do you like that? I just like it. I'm different, maybe. Maybe some people don't like that. I like to feel the strength in my hands because I know that that's making them stronger. I enjoy that. That's something. We each have our own things we like. So I learned how to type, and so I like that because I could use my hands. It took 2 years of typing. Although I failed everything else, I made straight A's in typing and woodworking and metal shop, I think. I did very well in drafting, too. I like that because it was creative. So school is not for everybody. While you're reading this, it is now. At this time yesterday, it was now. Tomorrow at the same time, it will be now. So many of us waste our lives living in the past or the future. Take no thought of the morrow. Enough trouble is waiting for you to deal with in the present. If you take care of tomorrow today, tomorrow will take care of itself. Someone else greater than I said that. I have worried about many things in my life, and the vast majority of them never happened. The same is true of you and everyone else on this planet. Think about that. We suffer far more in imagination than in time and space of reality. I think that's a Marcus Aurelius quote, a Stoic quote, I think. But I could be wrong. But it's a quote, it's not mine. The other side of that coin is, in order to avoid most of the suffering we endure, all we have to do is stop worrying about things that aren't actually happening right now. Suffering is a complex subject in itself. What you consider suffering may be another person's joy. Take marathon runners or those who participate in triathlons. They love it. I've done some myself and enjoy the challenge and rush of adrenaline. Others would have a difficult time thinking of an activity they liked less. Viktor Frankl was a Nazi death camp prisoner who attributes his survival to the ability to find beauty around him in that environment. Where others saw only horror, he saw hope. Life is all about perspective. If Viktor Frankl could adjust his perspective, so can we. I'm not saying that I would have been able to do what he did, but rather that we as humans are capable. The human spirit is unfathomable. So how does one do it? I don't really like calling these steps. They are just principles that you can use to make your life better. They straighten out the inside of you, and then somehow everything on the outside seems to magically change. The more you become at peace with yourself, the better everything else gets. First, you must accept that there is a power that is greater than your physical reality. This may be difficult for some of you, either because you have been taught only that which can be seen is real, or that only a specific conception of God can be real. Both are harmful concepts and must be let go if you want to move forward with your ideal life. It doesn't matter what you call this force, the universe, stars, astrology, Jesus, Allah, Jehovah, Buddha. Call it whatever you believe. That is most important. And then believe. Believe that this power knows better than you. When it seems like things are not going your way and there could be no possible way that your present moment could turn out for the better, believe. When you believe in a power that is greater than yourself, you can place your trust in this power, even when you're hurting, especially when you're hurting. Without such a belief, you only have the ability to look back in hindsight and learn that hard situations actually helped you in the long run. But believing in the present moment that you are being cared for allows you to not have to wait for the future to trust in the present. The next task is to surrender your life to this power. This is a step past belief. It's putting your life completely in the control of something greater than yourself. That was hard for me. It's hard for most people. Rest assured, once you believe in this power, if you don't surrender, it will eventually beat you down until you do. I know, I was as hard-headed as they come. I have always believed that there was something called God, but never trusted in him or her or it or them. I didn't always realize that about myself. One day I was sitting in a meeting and I heard someone say it. A bell rang in my mind, and I realized that not only had I never trusted in God, but I had never trusted in anything, not even myself. And I'm going to stop there because we're about at the 15-minute mark, and I post this on Instagram. Thanks for joining me today. We will continue this later on. The Power is Within, available on Amazon Books. Pick up your copy today. I know it will be of value to you. And as always, have a great day and believe.